Madam President, I just want to close on one final note. The bipartisan work that we've done here in the Senate on this school safety, mental health, and gun safety bill is a sharp contrast from what is happening on the other side of the Capitol. House Democrats, unfortunately, have a history of prioritizing politics over policy, but now their games have reached a dangerous low. I'm talking about the safety and security of the members of the United States Supreme Court and their family. It's been more than a month since the Senate passed bipartisan legislation to protect them from threats of violence. The legislation Senator Coons, a senator from Delaware, and I introduced, a bipartisan bill, passed the Senate unanimously. You think that happens every day? Not by a long shot. To get all 100 senators to support a piece of legislation means it's really not controversial. But unfortunately, once it went to the House, it sat there and languished for a month, even as members of the Supreme Court and their families are being threatened. The House hasn't allowed a vote on that bipartisan bill. The reason given by our Democratic colleagues in the House is, well, they want to extend further protection to court employees and their families. That could include round-the-clock security details for everyone from clerks to IT staff and their spouses, children, siblings, and parents. That makes a mockery of what Senator Coons and I tried to do. All we wanted to do is give the police at the Supreme Court the very same authority that Capitol Police has to provide protective details to members of Congress. In fact, the leadership in both houses have permanent details assigned to them. But if a member of Congress receives a credible threat, Capitol Police will provide a protective detail for them. That's all we want to do for the members of the Supreme Court and their family. Last week, we received a terrifying reminder of the failure to act and what the consequences of that might be. U.S. Marshals arrested a man outside of Justice Kavanaugh's home who had traveled all the way from California to assassinate a sitting justice in the United States Supreme Court. When he was arrested, he had a Glock 17 semi-automatic pistol. He had ammunition, a knife, a crowbar, and some zip ties. He told authorities his plan was to break into Justice Kavanaugh's house, kill Justice Kavanaugh, and then commit suicide. That was his plan. Thank goodness law enforcement authorities were able to stop him. But this close call immediately set off calls for the House to pass the bipartisan legislation that I was discussing a moment ago. Again, that passed unanimously in the Senate a month ago. But unfortunately, House Democrats have still refused to do that. They still claim that the law clerks and other Supreme Court staff who are virtually anonymous to the public are in dire need of protection too. I think this is pretty transparently a stalling tactic. It's a pretty lame excuse for not providing the Supreme Court justices and their families the very same protection that Capitol Police provide members of Congress. Well, our bill was the bill that the Democratic House members say they want to pass instead was introduced on May the 10th, almost 5 weeks ago. But they haven't even voted on that bill yet. Again, this is a transparent attempt to stall the legislation that passed here 100-0. If they actually believed, if House Democrats actually believed in the snake oil that they're trying to sell, they would have passed their own bill a month ago. But they didn't, and they haven't. They've wasted precious time and left justices' families vulnerable to grave danger. If House Democrats want to vote on a bill that extends protection to other people, including the leaker of the Supreme Court opinion, they're welcome to try to do so. But first, they need to pass the bipartisan bill Senator Coons and I introduced. The line between legitimate public discourse and acts of violence has been crossed. and House Democrats cannot continue to turn a blind eye. We don't have time to spare when it comes to protecting the members of the court and their families. If, heaven forbid, something were to happen because of a lack of authority that would be conferred by the Supreme Court Police Parity Act, shame on members of the House of Representatives. It would be on them for their failure to act on this common sense bipartisan bill. So, Madam President, the House needs to pass the Supreme Court Police Parity Act today, and if not today, tomorrow. I yield the floor.